Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolute masterclass in strategy, psychology, and honestly, just raw intellectual combat. We're looking at a true battle of minds between two absolute titans of the modern era of Go, Gu Li and Lee Sedol. Now, if you think board games are just about, casually moving pieces around, well, prepare to have your perspective entirely shattered. This isn't just a game. It's a relentless collision of wills where literally every single placement on the board ripples with these profound implications.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp the gravity of what we're looking at, we have to view Go not just as a competition, but as an ancient art form. Like the legendary player Lee Chung-ho points out right here, true mastery actually requires a partner. You just can't paint a masterpiece on the Go board in total isolation. You need a worthy adversary to push you to the absolute limits of human calculation and creativity. And let me tell you, in the early 21st century, there was absolutely no greater pairing, no more perfect rivalry than the one we're exploring today.
Section 1. Two Masters, One Board. So, let's meet the two prodigies. Believe it or not, they were born just a month apart back in 1983. First, we have Gu Li, hailing from Chongqing, China. His style? It's thick, it's powerful, and it's remarkably flexible. He builds this immense pressure and then unleashes explosive fighting power that just dismantles his opponent's frameworks like they're tissue paper. On the flip side, providing the perfect counterweight, is Lee Sedol from South Korea's Bijum Island. His play is intensely practical, dynamic, territorial, and razor-sharp. He absolutely excels in the middle game, orchestrating these massive trades and executing deep, deadly attacks. When these two opposing forces actually meet on the board, the friction generates some spectacular, entirely original variations.
Section 2. The Battle of the Century. They actually agreed to a jibango. Now, a jibango is a grueling 10-game match rooted in deep Go history, stretching all the way back to the 18th century. It is, for all intents and purposes, the ultimate deathmatch of the Go world. A match of this magnitude, played to determine absolute supremacy between the world's top two players, hadn't happened in over 70 years. It was this exhausting marathon, designed to test not just their technical skills, but their sheer physical and mental endurance over an entire year, traveling across multiple cities.
And, just to add some serious fuel to the fire, let's talk about the stakes. The prize money for the victor was a staggering 5 million renminbi. To put that into perspective, that was roughly $800,000 at the time. It was a massive sum that brought an unprecedented level of pressure to an already historic rivalry.
Section 3. The Elements of Go.
So why are we fighting? This is a question observers ask all the time, especially those who tend to view fighting as inherently negative. It's super easy to look at a Go board and project human warfare onto it, maybe imposing moral judgments on moves that seem, too aggressive. But the authors of our source material urge us to just abandon that framework entirely.
As Iwamoto Kawaro so brilliantly illustrates here, Go is elemental. It's literally just lines, circles, wood, and stone. The forces at play on the board actually bear way more resemblance to the unfeeling laws of physics than they do to human warfare. There is no moral right or wrong move. There's only what's possible and what's impossible. A fight in Go is really just a finely balanced series of moves. It's kind of like primeval physical forces interacting, or maybe a highly delicate, intense negotiation.
Section 4. Game 1. The Opening. Setting the scene, it's January 2014, in the freezing depths of winter in Beijing. Lee Sedol draws black and makes the very first move. Lee Sedol opens on the star point. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the logic behind it. For an initiated player, the appeal is completely obvious. It trades immediate, secure corner territory for maximum flexibility. It's this high-speed development move that basically says, hey, I am ready to adapt to whatever you throw at me. And this brings us to a defining philosophy of their opening play. Modern Go is wide. Instead of immediately fighting for narrow, tight enclosures in the corners, the whole goal is to draw as much of the board as possible into play right from the start. You embrace the vast possibilities of the grid. You're setting up these broad frameworks that force the opponent to engage across the entire theater of operations, rather than getting bogged down in some early, isolated skirmish.
Section 5. Master Tactics and Strategies.
To really understand this clash, you have to understand the concept of aji, which translates literally to taste. In Go, aji refers to the latent potential left behind in a position. It's a lingering threat, a subtle option, maybe a dormant weakness. A master player cultivates a light touch, preserving their ajis so they have strategic options way later in the game. You definitely don't want to play heavy, absolute moves that just erase your own potential. The goal is to leave a bad taste in your opponent's mouth that you can exploit, say, 50 moves down the line.
And we see Guli leverage this brilliantly to create something from seemingly nothing. During a massive early fight, Guli deliberately sacrifices his own stones deep inside Lee Sedol's territory. Now, to an amateur, this looks like a huge mistake. But because these stones are sacrificed inside an area Lee already controls, Lee has to use his own stones to capture them. He's literally filling in his own territory. The math balances out perfectly. Guli loses 0 net points, but in the process, he forces Lee to defend, which grants Guli an extra highly valuable forcing move on the outside to build massive influence. It is pure tactical alchemy. So the crucial point is that at this elite level, a move rarely does just one thing. Lee Sedol counters Gu's magic with moves that perfectly embody this phrase. The hand which strikes also blocks. A true master doesn't just attack, and they certainly don't just defend. They find the exact intersection on the board where a single stone simultaneously strengthens their own vulnerable group while putting a total chokehold on the opponent's pieces. It's this beautiful dual-purpose efficiency that dictates the entire flow of the match. And when the pressure mounts, they employ this absolutely fascinating tactical rule. If you have to run, bring a friend. During Game 1, Lee Sedol finds one of his groups under a heavy-leaning attack from Guli. Instead of just meekly running away toward the center, which, by the way, would allow Guli to build even more power while chasing him, Lee counterattacks. He strikes out of vulnerability, creating a second weak group belonging to Guli. Now both players have groups running for their lives. By bringing a friend into the danger zone, Lee completely neutralizes Guli's advantage. Because, think about it, if both groups are weak, then the fight is even, and neither is truly weak. But honestly, perhaps the most profound moment in this first game comes when Lee Sedol realizes a specific fight just isn't going to go his way. His reading of the board tells him the mouth is bad, so instead of pushing forward out of stubbornness or ego, he simply falls back. He plays a solid, quiet move. As the ancient military strategist Sun Tzu stated, knowing when not to fight is the true hallmark of victory. It's the ultimate discipline. You really have to check your ego at the edge of the board. Watching Guli and Lee Sedol navigate the Jabongo is just a mesmerizing study in balance. They trade territory for influence, they sacrifice pieces to build power, and they are constantly evaluating the latent potential, that aji, of every single situation. Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to take away from this explainer today. When you look at the complex, elemental physics of your own life, your own projects, and your own conflicts, are you preserving your options? Are you making dual-purpose moves? And most importantly, do you know when to press the attack and when it's time to just walk away?